Okay, welcome to the Crow Discovery Project. We're going to take another look at this space object thingamabob that has thrusters on it. It's a difficult clip to get a zoom on because it was not all the way dark when I shot this. The sky looked very blue to our eyes still. It's going to come in at the top. Here it comes, coming down through the center of the moon, headed towards the equator. This is the original raw clip with just a slight contrast and a slight brightness manipulation to make it a little more visible. And what I'm going to do is run some filters and zoom a bit on this object to see if I can get a better view. And again, when it's dark and the moon backlights something, it gives you really sharp edges, and you can kind of see the blue in the sky. I had a city light filter on, so we'll see how it does, but the edge is fuzzier because of the ambient light. Here it comes at the top. Now you're going to see the thrusters kick off, and I know a lot of people have said sunlight and other things, but I've been doing this a long time. That's not sunlight. That is fire or heat coming off what looks like some kind of a thruster, and if you consider the distance that this probably is from me, if it is low Earth orbit, that's a couple hundred miles. And so when you consider the size of anything heating up to that degree, it's hard to think about. I mean, would that thing be burning fuel? It's hard to imagine that that thing's burning some kind of fuel. By the way, that object on the left is just junk on my camera sensor that I have since cleaned off. You'll see it a couple of times. Okay, here comes another view. This is inverted with some channels. I flipped it over this way because it makes the flare a little more evident. It's just very difficult. The last view that we take will probably be the best, but again, we don't have the sharp edges because the backlighting had all this ambient daylight. So here comes the closest view of this object we're going to have. And I had to do a few editing tricks to get this view because you can tell it's not that sharp, but I mean you can kind of get a decent look at this depending on the device you're using. And it's just a really interesting object. I have no idea what this thing would be. A lot of people have offered up what they think it might be. In my opinion, I find it hard to believe this thing would be burning any kind of regular fuel. Just think about the weight and the size those thrusters must be for me to pick them up like this from the distance that it must be from me. And that's, maybe it's not the distance we think it is. Maybe it's a whole heck of a lot closer. If so, then it begins to make it easier to think about, what could be making a thrust glow like that. At any rate, this is the full original clip. I did cut a little of the end off as it goes through free space here. But this is just a really interesting object, and I wanted to try to get another look at it with a little better zoom than I had the first time. Unfortunately, the new zoom method I use wasn't very helpful on this object simply because of the ambient light on the day it was filmed. Anyhow, the last article I put up is an interesting one. It's about what has been done to our clocks and our calendars, and all roads lead back to Rome. Julius Caesar and Pope Gregory the 13th, to be exact. So please come see me on the Examiner. Subscribe to the author. If you click the link in the description of this video, it'll take you to a page that shows all my recent articles, and it gives you a link to click to subscribe. And there it is. Cheers.